Morning, everybody. My name is Louise Connolly, and I'm the events manager at Macmillan Education here in Spain. And I'm delighted to welcome you all to the Macmillan In Focus for our new adult course, Macmillan English Hub. I don't know where you are exactly. I'm sure you're all based in different parts of the country, but I'm based in Barcelona, and today it's a cloudy day. I'm just looking out the window. It's a bit cloudy. I hope that wherever you are, it's sunny today. So now I would like to introduce our speaker, our main speaker, Elspeth Pollock. Hi, Elspeth. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. Elspeth is joining us from Seville this morning. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes, great. Funny.
Yes, it's very sunny there. Okay, you're lucky. I hope it gets better here over the weekend. Hopefully tomorrow will be sunny. Okay, I'm not going to say very much about Elspeth because I think she will have some things to say about that at the beginning. But I want to say that we've been collaborating with Elspeth now for many years, and it's always a pleasure to work with Elspeth. She's an active teacher. She understands your situation. She's in the classroom, and she has very practical ideas, which I think is fundamental. Know that here we offer practical ideas and activities that you can put to practice in your classes. So Elspeth's talk today is called Engage, Adapt and Engage with Macmillan English Hub. And I think that this is a really appropriate title, because these days we are having to adapt a lot, and also we're having to engage in different ways. So I think that this title gives us an indication that this is going to be a very practical session in order to address these issues. So over to you, Elspeth.
Right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being with us this morning. And yes, as Louise said, here's the information about what we're going to be talking about today. Looking at Macmillan English Hub with a view to how to address different activities with as little preparation as possible, because I don't know about you, but I'm feeling that preparation is taking longer and longer at the moment, and encouraging communication and engaging and motivating our students. So as Louise said, first of all, just a quick bit about me. I am here in Seville, where I've been for many years now. And I work at ELI, where I am a teacher, a teacher's trainer, and the director of studies. And I also write materials. And as I said, it's sunny here. When is it ever not? My current teaching situation, the most important, well, this photo was actually taken last Friday. Now, last Friday, I was still teaching hybrid classes, where half of my students were online and half of them were in class with me. This actually, luckily for us in Seville, changed on Monday. So now we are back to face-to-face teaching with our COVID protocol, lots of disinfecting and following the protocol strictly. So, and evidently I've taught online because that's what happened when we went into lockdown last March. So I've covered all three of those, but my current one, as I say, is face-to-face. And I would really like to know now, this poll, can you tell me what your current teaching situation is? Are you, just put a number, what are you, hybrid classes at the moment? Are you number 2 face-to-face with the masks and social distancing? Or are you doing online classes only? If you could put a number there in the poll, it would be really interesting to see what your current teaching situation is.
Okay.
Have a
people are responding very
take the moment,
quickly.
take the moment.
Yes, take a moment. Are you happy that you're back in the classroom, Ellie?
Yes, ecstatically happy. It's lovely to be back in class, and even with the masks on, that's part of what we're going to talk about today, the fact of the restrictions of the mask, but it's a lot less complicated than hybrid classes
Yes,
were.
obviously. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got the answers. We've got 55%, a majority of 55% going up a little bit, 55, 56, of face-to-face classes with masks and social distancing, followed by hybrid classes at 43, more or less. And then online classes are the least at 4%. So thank you, everybody, for responding.
Really interesting to find out and to see that the majority of you are in the situation that I am in teaching at the moment, number 2. But also, hopefully, the ideas that we'll be looking at today, they are easily adaptable to those 3 teaching situations. Yeah? Okay. So, as I said before, I think I'm finding that planning is taking longer, and also that my students are feeling a little bit jaded, a little bit deflated with classes at the moment. So what I like to do is to encourage more student participation, and I have a new set of routines that I do to start lessons. The first one is we have what I call word of the day. Now, this is words that have to be included into the lesson of the day. So they can be included either artificially through in a speaking practice activity, or students just try and throw them in there in the middle of the lesson, and you get points if you do. It's a challenge to the students. To give you an example, these 10 points. If your students are into points, sometimes adults are deceptively interested in gaining points. So here we have 10 if you say it casually, and 5 if you say it during an official speaking practice activity. For example, I could choose the words as teacher. So here at my C1 level, words, sniff, sneeze, cough. So those 3 words, I say to my students, right, those are the words of the day. You have to include those in your spoken English during this lesson. Once we've done that, it's quite easy to get students to choose the words, and they do really enjoy that. So, for example, this is Alejandra, again, it's C1 level, from her notebook, which she let me take a photo of. She wanted us to do beckon and fidget in the words of the day. And so, okay, we included those in the lesson. Then you could also go, and this is very popular with students, online to find words of the day. There's a site called originally Random Word Generator, and it's appropriate if you do have underage students, but anyway, there are no words which are inappropriate for an English class coming into play. And you can just put in, select a word. In this case, the word me came up, so that was an easy one for the word of the day. And students they enjoy the fact that this is totally random. I have no hidden agenda as the teacher. I'm not trying to get them to do some practice there. So students enjoy that. Also, you could go straight to the course book. The students could, or you could. So for example, this is the B1 level, and there, together as a class, this is a reading that we had already done in the previous lesson. And what we did was we chose the words a waiting list. Okay, so that was our word of the day. So Louise, there the words are written on the board, waiting list. Yeah. I've got them. That's your challenge for the day, please. I'd like you to try and include, yes, a waiting list. See how you can fit it.
So I've got to listen really, really carefully and slip in that word, that expression, waiting list. Let's see.
Yes, and 10 points.
I'm up for the challenge.
Good.
Only
yes, 5 points. It's a little artificial. You only get 5. I'll be the judge of it. See if you can manage it.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
Thank you. Once I've established the words or words of the day with the students, whatever way we've gone about it, then we move on to what I call personalised speaking warmers. It's just, we all do warmers in the classroom. I forgot about them for a good few years, having taught for a long time, and just thought, I don't need to do that. But actually, I'm finding that in times of different teaching situations, hybrid, online, face-to-face with masks, it is nice to have a warmer, and a speaking warmer does definitely relax the students before we get into the content of the lesson. So, for example, what I'm doing is, if I'm planning my lesson on PowerPoint or Google Slides, I just take photos of random objects. I have this here. I just took a photo of them, and then I put that up in my class to start the lesson, and they have to say which object is more useful, for example, or, and this one is going to be another one for Louise, which of these objects did you use yesterday? Can you see them?
I can see, and a remote. Well, I just used a pen yesterday, a remote. Oh no, hang on. It wasn't a remote for the air conditioning. It was a remote for the music center. I was playing some music. So I actually used
so
both.
You used both? Yeah. And this is just, once you've done this with your students, thank you, Louise, for your answer there. I think mine was pen, because we don't need the air conditioning yet here, so I just used a pen yesterday. But just using something as normal and as personal as that with your students, it allows them to think about themselves and to just relax into the class very easily. You could also do it as what's coming up in the class today. But also, this was one that I just included, because I've found with one class of adult B1 students that I have this year, they seem to be cat lovers. So when I first showed them a photo for them to talk about my cats, now it's turned into a kind of routine that I also have to show them pictures of my cats every class. But this actually helps with relationships as well, because they now know, they ask about Ozzy and Dexter there. And I also can tell them a little bit about parts of my story that I'm willing to share with them. For example, that this cat here, the orange cat, Ozzy, I have that invisible netting now on my balcony at home, because when he was 9 months old, he fell off the balcony and broke his leg. And interestingly enough, the vet said to me, that will be €1,000 for a titanium implant in his hip, or no euros, and you can just leave him. And I said, gosh, is that not cruel to leave the animal with no operation? And she said, no, he's young and he will recover. So I spent a week with him in every 2 hours, giving him the medicine and looking after him intensely, and he's absolutely fine now. Sharing these small parts of our story with students is a very nice way to extend the relationship and create the relationship, which I do think has been more difficult with social distancing, and certainly with hybrid and online. It's not so easy to get that relationship built with your students. You could, of course, go to the course book to get students to look at what's coming up, and to have let them give their opinion about what's coming up in the lesson. Which do you think is more interesting in this case? It would be yoga or beekeeping. And in some cases, not very often, but in some cases, I do have both those pages ready, and I can let them choose which one they want to do today. And that is very motivating in itself. Or you can just let them say, well, I think beekeeping. You say, well, actually, we're doing yoga today. But it is a nice thing to be able to do. Also, to keep my students motivated during the lesson, I do something which I call surprise speaking. Now, because in the socially distanced classroom, as most of you find yourselves in now, we can't perhaps do the games activities, more entertaining things that we used to. For example, a board game. because the heads can't be together. We can't have the die and roll it. We can't, students do enjoy, whatever age they are, coming up to the board and writing on the board. We can't do that anymore. It's very fiddly if you have to clean the pen each time you do it. So I have I suppose it's a surprise speaking brain break in my lessons. This is during my PowerPoint, and if I'm not using a PowerPoint, I just write it up on the board. Let's imagine that my students are doing a grammar activity, or they are doing a reading activity, and then this pops up on the board and they have to stop whatever they're doing and answer the question. Okay, so in this case it's, what did you have for lunch? And they just turn to their partner, discuss that, and then they carry on with what they were doing. It's a click brain break, allowing you to relax again in class. This would be another one that they might do. What activity did you enjoy most last lesson? Or it could be, and here I have one for you, what's the last series you saw on Netflix? Now, I would really like you to tell me the answer to this. I need some recommendations as to what series you can watch on Netflix. Can you write in the have your say for me, please, and let me know what it is that you last saw on Netflix.
Perfect. So that question will appear on your screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. I must admit,
I'm looking forward
to something. I don't actually have Netflix.
Oh, goodness. I think I've watched almost everything. Oh, Bridgerton. Yes. Yes.
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
I've seen Dance, New Amsterdam, RuPaul's Drag Race. Have no idea. Stranger Things, yes, I have seen. I've seen it somewhere else.
Oh, thank you for all this. I haven't.
Excellent. Lupin. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
I was debating the Queen's Gambit, but I didn't know. But lots of people have said the Queen's Gambit. Okay, so that will be next on my list, I think. Thank you for giving your recommendation.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Okay, Queen's Gambit is going to be, I'll let Louise know what I think of it. And I think you should get Netflix, Louise, as well. Okay,
well,
so
we'll see. We'll see.
It could also be, I put up a name of a student. Uthia, you think of a question today. And so that's her responsibility to suddenly stop, ask the class a question. Everyone answers it with their partner, and then the lesson carries on. I think I put there, I try to interest students in what we're going to do in class. I think that's evident. I think we all do when we're planning a class. But one of the great things about the Macmillan English Hub is the video series that it has. They work really well across the board with all the different levels. So, for example, it has what's called Cafe Hub, which is sitcom style videos, and Video Hub. These are more authentic documentary style. And what we're going to have a look at, one of each, just to give you an idea of what they're like, and an idea of activities that you can do with the videos, although there is a load of stuff in the book, but this is just some extra ideas. So, for example, this is where I need you to think hard. The video is called Flat Packed. That in itself might be a clue. There, I would like you, we're just going to watch a minute of the video, but if you think to yourself, I'm going to watch a video called Flat Packed, yeah, could you predict, yeah, and could you write in the have your say, could you have your say as to what 5 words do you think you're going to hear in a video called Flat Packed? Now, also remember that this is a B1 level video. So if you're a B1 level student, what do you think you're going to hear? Could you give us an idea, and we'll try and build a list of 5 words, perhaps, that you might hear when you're watching a video called Flat Packed. In the title, there is a clue. Louise,
Okay,
do you
so
have any idea
the question
what you're going to? Yeah, we're going to
for flat
predict
back,
5 words.
yeah,
Go on, what do you think?
maybe, yeah. I would say, for example, something
I,
to, for
IKEA.
example, a piece of furniture, IKEA. What
Furniture. I like the
else?
IKEA.
Okay, the answers are coming in. So people are saying accommodation, rent, flatmate, located, kitchen, furniture, IKEA, instructions, absolutely very
Blimey.
important, possibly.
Oh, instructions.
Delivery, put together, package food, screw,
Oh,
box, assemble, angry. Wow, we're getting office. We're getting loads of answers. Plastic, air, thin, less room,
wow.
storage,
Okay,
DIY.
that's
Okay,
you only need 5.
that's
So
great.
if you're at home, have your list of 5. I've from your list of 5, I've got mine that I've written down here, taken from what everyone has just suggested. And so what we're going to do is you're going to have your 5 words in front of you. We're going to watch a short clip of the video, and I'd like you to tick whatever of those 5 words that you hear and see in the video. I think we'll allow it as it's a video. If you don't hear the word, if you actually see it, for example, one of mine is screw. If I see a screw, I'm going to tick it. Okay? So tick the words we're trying to predict. So now let's have a look at the clip from the video, and we'll be ticking to see which words we got correct.
So, let's do this. Wait. Why?
We need to prepare.
Prepare for what?
Ready. You?
Ready. Okay. The first thing to do is organize all of the pieces into the correct order.
Sorry, can you say that again?
If you take your helmet off, you'll be able to hear better.
Oh, sure. What did you say?
Just lay out all the pieces in a row.
Okay, right.
When you've done that, take the packet of screws.
Okay, right.
Are you going to keep doing that?
Okay, right.
Can you stop saying that?
Okay, wrong?
Yeah. Let's just get this done.
Okay. Then.
Right.
Okay, so there's my question there. How many words did you predict correctly? I did really badly, actually. Can you have a go in the have your say and give us a number? How many words did you manage to get correctly in that video? I think there was no IKEA.
Okay.
How did you do, Louise?
I actually had IKEA, and I had instructions because, well, over the last year, I've had to reconstruct quite a few flatbacks. And so the word instruction is key when you're doing that, as many of you out there will know,
Oh, Liz,
including
Liz got
yourself.
one.
One,
Yes.
none, two.
Yeah.
Okay, any more than two?
I
Let's just see.
did really badly as well.
No,
Yeah.
3. Somebody got 3 actually, so well done. That's not, yeah.
None
Okay,
whatsoever.
fantastic.
Okay. Yes. Well,
Okay, thanks
you very
everybody.
much for having a go. Yes, thank you for having a go at that. Then what might be the lesson learned from that is maybe give your student more of a hint as to what the video is going to be about. But let's not forget that they are level B1, so perhaps they wouldn't have put some of the words, more complicated words in that they did. I'm giving myself a point for instructions because I saw the man had some instructions. I'm taking the point with that. Okay, so you might also like to do different tasks for generating interest in the video. For example, that first one we've just done. You might like to just get them to write 5 issues that you think will be mentioned. Write 3 questions the video will answer for you, or discuss with a partner what you think it will be about, and then watch it and then compare. Were we correct or not? But another thing you can do is just take a still. There's a still of that first part of the video, and use that instead of just giving them the title, this might make it a little bit more easy for your students. And then you could do different tasks, such as looking at the still of the video and saying, right, what are they talking about? What do they look like? Or if you have a specific grammar agenda going on, present perfect continuous, what have they just been doing? Future, what do they think they're going to do? And even event their characters and background. And all of that can be got just from looking at a still of the video before you actually go into what the exercises are to do with it. We're going to have a look at now one of the authentic videos. This one I found absolutely fascinating, Mars on Earth. Again, it's just an extract that we're going to do, but I wanted to show you what you could do is, if you use the video script, which I must admit that I haven't used that much, but now I've got it and I've got the idea of the things that I can do with it, it's really useful. So, for example, this one that we're going to have a go at, this is a C1 level video, so it's a much higher level. I looked at the video script and I have chosen 6 words from the video script and I've put them out of order. So here are the 6 words. Could you please just copy those down onto a piece of paper? Yeah, you'll need those 6 words copied down, because in a moment we're going to watch and listen to the video, just again the first extract of it, and I'd like you to listen and put those words in the order that you hear them. Yeah? So which word is first, and then going through to first is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay, so have you had the chance to just copy those down in your notebook or on a piece of paper anywhere that you are? Then, is that enough time? Probably. Okay, there's a little fly in this room that's buzzing around me, I'm sorry. If you copied those, then now we're going to watch the video, and again the task is to listen and write the order that those words appear in as we're watching the first extract. So if we can have a look at the video now and then listen for the words and the order that they appear.
Mars is very inhospitable. So there's hardly any air and we can't breathe if there was. There's no soil, so you can't grow anything.
We know that the atmosphere is full of carbon dioxide, so the risks are very high. You'd really have to rely on life support systems.
There's a lot of rocks. There's a lot of mountains and ridges. So there's a lot of danger.
Red and barren.
Desolate.
But Mars is, it's a very mysterious planet, and it's something that has always drawn people to look more closely at it, which is something that kind of drives missions like this.
It's a bright red target. So there's a lot of research going on worldwide that is helping to enable Mars exploration. And a lot of it, of course, is the technical stuff. You know, how do you safely send humans to Mars? What's the vehicle going to be like? What the fuel's going to be like? How are you going to have water systems on the surface? All of that. So we fit into all of that picture as within the Human Research Program in NASA. And within that, we're part of the Behavioral Health and Performance program. So that group and that set of research is all looking at human behavior over these long-duration missions and how it affects performance. When NASA's planning these long-duration space missions, what they do is they have a set of risks, and those risks are either colored green for acceptable, yellow for not solved but okay, and red for a problem. And NASA will not send a human mission to Mars while there are still red risks on the list. And some of those risks have to do with crew psychology and crew cohesion in isolated and confined environments.
Right, that was it. Quite tricky. So let's see then if you got those right. I'm going to show you the answers now. Those are the order in which the words appeared. Have you got them right? Yeah. Then what you can do after that is some smashing work with those, with that vocabulary, amazing C1 level vocabulary. That's just using the video script. So instead of actually having to watch the video myself, I can just skim through the video script and get the words very easily and very quickly. Another thing that you could do with a video script is change certain words and then ask students to identify which ones you've changed. I often do that with a song, but it's great to do it with a video as well. And then you could even just gap fill the video script and then get the students to complete the text. Okay, one thing that I'm finding a challenge at the moment in lessons is dealing with the fact that there are within, for example, a B2 level group, there are those who are stronger, those fast finishers who finish really quickly, and there are those who are finding it harder. And those who struggle, trying to keep them with the rest of the group without making them feel left out, and yet allowing them to work at their own pace. Now, I think one thing that this Macmillan English Hub deals with very well is the fact that it gives the weaker students the ability, those who are struggling, it gives them the ability to redo a listening at home. They can listen as many times as they need, because I know adults particularly find listening scary, and they always want it played more than twice, 3 times, 4 times, and I think that, personally, I think that's excessive. But to be able to cater to those students who find it more difficult, particularly listening, then if they have this at home, they can spend the time and take responsibility for their own learning at home. Similarly, they can look at the exercises again. They can do them and repeat them as necessary. Adult students can sometimes as well, mine anyway, get a little bit obsessed with grammar and getting the grammar correct. So you can do those exercises again and again at home as you want in your own time. And of course, you can do it wherever you want. You can do it on the bus, in the metro, in a bar, without having to lug heavy books around. You've got that freedom that it allows you. Also, you can take a little bit of a flipped classroom approach to when you have the digital course book. And this means that, for example, this is a reading, a low level, A1, A2, about Carlos Acosta, the dancer. Now, what I would do with that is send my students, let them have a look at this, set it for homework, the tasks in the book, and then get them to look up some extra information, some extra facts about Carlos Acosta, bring them into class, and then we can have a look at them together and see whether they were, for example, true or false. They can make those for each other and extend what's in the course book. You can also do that instead of doing the reading comprehension in class. You can use class time for vocabulary development on that reading, and again, because they've had the opportunity to do the exercises at home. My new thing this year is reading aloud, yeah, and recording yourself reading aloud. Now, you can get on any phone, you can get a free app, free recording app. Everybody, I think, has them. And getting students to record themselves is a smashing way of improving pronunciation and intonation. So, for example, you could ask your students to record themselves describing a course book image. That's a more usual way. But what I like to do is take it a little one step further. So after we've done the reading comprehension from the book, this again is the C1 level. After we've done that and we've done the exercises, then my students' homework is to go home, get their phones and record themselves reading aloud. And then we can do various things with that recording. The idea of reading aloud after having done the reading comprehension is because it means that students don't have to focus on producing the ideas or the content, and they can focus on their intonation, their pronunciation fully, and it's very interesting. Now, the feedback on the recording. I, for one, do not like listening to myself on a recording. Louise, how do you feel about listening to yourself on a recording? Do you like listening?
I don't really like it. The thing is, I've got used to it.
Yeah.
I've got used to it because, well, for example, these online events, we've done a lot. We've actually been doing online events for 5 years. And since last year, we've been doing lots of online training and events. So I have to look at them again, obviously. And so, yeah, but I do feel a little bit of a kind of
I still
cringe.
hate it. My voice just sounds really tinny and horrible. So what I'm not suggesting is that we embarrass our students by putting on a recording for the whole class to listen to. You will find, I'm sure you've all got that one student who wouldn't mind doing that. It's just some people don't mind at all. But what you can do is you can play it in class, even in the socially distanced classroom, if you stretch your phone across, you can play it for a partner in class, and then students can give each other feedback. So, for example, they can give each other feedback or can give themselves some feedback. If your students are particularly reticent about letting other people listen to themselves on the recording, get your students to listen to themselves and then with a partner in class, confess their mistakes. Confess as to how they sound, confess as to what words they can hear they mispronounced. That's easier than actually playing it for someone. One very interesting activity that I've just done this month with mine is they record themselves reading aloud, they close the book, and a few days later they go back to the recording and they transcribe just the first paragraph. Now, I wouldn't recommend any more because otherwise it's too long, it takes too long and it gets irritating. But if you transcribe that first paragraph and then compare it to the original reading, it's very interesting to see actually what happens, what you're saying. Does it actually coincide with what is in the original text? One thing, I don't, wherever you are in Spain, here we have the Seville Andalusian accent is a strong one. So I do know that one might, particularly B1 level students, when they are pausing, it's a eh sound that they make, and they're all very aware of it, and we laugh together. And I try and get them to listen out for it and change all the airs for to try and sound a little bit more less maybe strong Spanish accent. So we go instead of eh. You can also get them to give some written grading on feedback to each other. I find that students are very generous with each other when giving feedback, and I think that's really nice. So it can actually help give someone a boost to their ego as to what marks their partner gives them in some feedback. Using the resources that the coursebook has is essential because if the coursebook already has it, why should we go around reinventing material? So this, for example, the Macmillan English Hub has word lists. And what is unique, I think, about the word list is that they also include a definition and an example sentence. Now, this, again, talking about different abilities in the classroom. If you have students who, for example, you have a word list and you're asking them to give each other definitions of words, your weaker students who are struggling, they can just read out the definition to their partner, and that enables them to participate fully. Those stronger students, well, they can just cover the definition and look at the word and invent their own definition. So it does allow for everybody to participate in what's going on in the activities vocabulary activities that you're doing in class.
Elspeth.
Yes. Yeah.
Waiting list.
Oh,
I
sugar,
think it's
sorry,
appropriate to say. I think it's appropriate to say now a waiting list, given that we're talking about definitions. A waiting list is the list of people who want to join something, some place, for example, a club, or for example, in the case of the NASA Mars project, there might be people who are on a waiting list to join that program. What do you think?
Yes, a little artificial, but yes, you remember to use it. So I'm going to give you 5 points.
I mean, only 5. Okay.
5 points there. Thank you very much for remembering to do that. And so therefore, if you're giving definitions, everybody can join in. So this is my favorite game to do with a socially distanced activity to do with vocabulary lists. So for example, each of my students has one of these. You can see it in the slide there. It's the PDM game. P stands for Pictionary, D for definition, M for mime. So it's my turn. For example, my students are working in groups of 3. As I say, it's socially distanced, so they have their own copy of this. I choose a word, and basically I go, and wherever my pen lands, on a like D for definition, I have to give a definition of the word that I'd chosen. It's weighted, if you can see there, there are more Ds than Pictionary and mime, so it's weighted towards this giving definitions, which is my cheat way of getting them to give more definitions, because if it were up to them, they would just draw and mime everything. And there are also some free choice question marks. So for example, I've just chosen one of the words on that list, and I've made you a little P for Pictionary drawing here, Louise, and I'd like you to try and guess what's the word.
Okay.
I'm very artistic.
Let's see. I think it's hero. It could be hero, no? Hero or stargazer or...
Heroes, yes. I made you.
It's hero, okay.
My artistic abilities, yes. It is hero. But this, giving each student one of these sheets means that they don't have to touch each other's sheets, and therefore it remains socially distant, but you can still do the activity. Similarly, I take a word list, and here I've got 10 words from the word list. I give my students 30 seconds. I say, right, here are 10 words that I have chosen from the list. I'd like you to remember them. So I'm going to give you an example before we actually do one. So here, one word, this is an example, trial run. One word is going to disappear from that list of 10. It disappears. Obviously, I'm doing this on PowerPoint or Google Slides in my class, and my students guess which one disappeared. So now, are you ready? Those are the words. One of those words is going to disappear, and I'd like you now, there it is, it's gone. I'd like you in the have your say, please, can you write the missing word? What word just disappeared?
Okay, so as
have
Elspeth
a go.
Said, have a go. The question has appeared on your screen. It's what's the missing word?
Shall I cheat? Shall I just go back a slide and give everyone another chance? 1, 2, 3, 4.
No. Okay. I mean,
get the missing word.
Yes, yes. Everybody is saying mythical.
Mythical. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that word. Thank you. Yes, that word. Ta-ta, that is the word that was there. Yeah, definitely. Okay. This is an excellent activity. All of these activities with the word list from the book to use in breakout rooms. In classrooms, we can't use physical dice anymore, but if you have your phone, we'll have a free app. I have a free dice roller app, comes up there, and I can roll the dice, and that's super useful to use in class. So for example, if I have 6 words from the word list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I am going to roll my die, and I'm going to give you a definition of one of those 6 words. So I'm going to roll my die now. It's given me a number. I'm not going to say which number because I'd like you to tell me which number. This is a word that it's a noun, and it means an invented story. An invented story. Could you type in the number in the chat? Which word am I defining? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? It's an invented story. that usually gets to be very famous?
Okay,
No
so it's either 1 belief, 2 hero, 3 myth, 4 represent, 5 believe, or 6 representation. So
my
which
definition
one of those is it?
It's a
Say
noun.
the definition.
Yeah, it's a noun and it means an invented story.
Okay, people have written in and the majority of people have put 3.
Yes, and you're perfectly correct. I was defining a myth. Okay, so that's a nice game you can use with a digital app, free app on anyone's phone in class. Thank you. Yes. Finally, every book includes grammar exercises, and I do find that my adult students particularly enjoy doing a good grammar exercise in class. But what I try to do is make it a little bit different. For example, if it's multiple choice, I have 3 pens. Each student has 3 pens. Red is A, green is B, blue is C. So when we're correcting a multiple choice grammar exercise like this one, the student reads out number 1. So for example, here I find that, I can't read it, whatever, the it takes. Now, is A, B, or C. And my students hold up the colour they think the answer is, A, B, or C. This is a super way when you're checking an activity to see who is actually getting it right. So if all my students hold up the correct answer, C, then I know that they're all with me and we don't need to do any more practice on that activity. And I can also see who is perhaps getting all of them wrong and maybe give them a little bit more practice of that grammar area. And finally, what I also like to do is look at a grammar exercise and then ask my students to choose 2 or 3, these are word formation grammar exercises, and write in their notebook a sentence that's true for me using the same grammar. Also, this has a test generator, and I do really enjoy allowing students, they know they're going to do a test, and so allowing them, what type of activity would you like me to include in the test? That element of choice does help them get into it a little bit more, even though it's going to be a test. So do you want to do multiple choice, or do you want to do a gap fill? And the majority wins. It involves everybody in what's happening in the class. And then in the course book, again, giving students choice to ask them to participate and encourage them to participate. I've got a double-page spread here from the B1 level, and it's, we know what it's about there. There's Leonardo DiCaprio. And you've got a reading, you've got grammar, and you've got some speaking. So what I've started doing is saying to my students, right, these 3 things we have to do today, what order would you like to do them in? And my students might say, this is one they didn't choose, that they wanted to start with speaking because it's about reading books. They wanted to start with that, then follow up with the grammar, and they wanted to do the reading last in class. But what actually this group of students did choose was they decided they wanted the grammar out the way first, then to go into the reading, and then to do the speaking. So allowing them to have that choice in what's happening in the lesson is really useful, and it encourages them to participate because you're allowing them to say what they'd like to do first and second in the class. Yeah? And so basically, that's what we've had today. Those are the ideas. So if you could send in your questions, if you have any questions that you'd like to share and ask, that would be great.
Yes, so that this interaction will appear on your screen now. Please send in any comments or questions that you have for Elspeth. And while we're waiting, Elspeth, thank you so much for this talk. It's been really, really interesting. And I really like this last idea of giving choice as well. It's something that we forget. I mean, part of engagement is feeling that you're part of the process, isn't it? That in some way you have an influence.
Yes.
Obviously, it is structured by the teacher, but at the same time, you are giving them this kind of say, as it were, or voice.
Definitely. And I wouldn't suggest doing it every lesson. It's just now and then when you see something in front of you and you go, okay, well, we could do this any order. Let's have a go. And in the same way as using the test generator, which type of exercise do you want to do? It's just you as teacher know where you're going to take them, but allowing some participation in the input makes it much more motivating to do. There's no doubt about that.
There are comments coming in. People are saying very useful ideas. Thank you very much. It's great to have these ideas to put them to practice next week. Absolutely. Somebody has asked for the name of the Dice app that you showed.
Okay. I just put it into, this is an iPhone, and I just put into the App Store, I put in Dice Roller. So it doesn't have a name. It just comes up. I put in Dice Roller, and it said Dice Roller. That was all.
And also,
it's
exactly
free.
It's free, exactly. So I'm sure that there are lots of different ones, depending on the system that you have.
There's
okay.
PDM.
And sorry.
No, I was just going to say, somebody has asked, does the PDM appear in the course book, or you created it? It's something that I created just as sort of a favorite go-to activity that I do in class all the time, and I just made the grid that myself, but using the vocabulary list from the book so that I don't have to think of the input on that.
Absolutely. So it's a way of exploiting, isn't it? Because that's your idea there. You know, vocabulary lists can often go unnoticed and are not really exploited. But actually, I love them as well. I think they're amazing. And, you know, the fact they're there, it's all done for you. How you exploit it, the way you adapt it, obviously depends on the group that you're teaching, the levels, and also your preference in terms of, and your students' preference in terms of activities that work, that work for you. But a vocabulary list is a really useful tool, and I think should be exploited a lot more. Absolutely. Somebody has asked a question, how to handle reading in class. The person is saying it takes forever. I send them they give it as homework. Do you have any advice for that?
Adults particularly do like to suffer over each word in a reading. They find reading for gist difficult to do. So I would suggest doing a lot of gist reading tasks with your students, and brutally setting a timer. There's also an activity where, because some students don't realize whether they are slower or quicker readers. So there's one where I ask my students to start their reading, and then when we're 35 or 45 seconds into the reading, I say, okay, everybody stop, show your partner with your finger where you are in the text. And that's extremely interesting because it shows students can actually physically see, gosh, I'm reading really quickly, and others can say, gosh, I'm a bit slow, maybe I should get a move on. And it helps people realize what type of reader they are.
That's great. Yeah, good idea. Somebody else would like to share the spin the wheel. They've put in a link. It's a word wall. Yeah, it's an actual word wall. Yeah, it's there in the chat. Thank you. And the okay, somebody has asked about the recording. This event is recorded, and we will make it available to you after the event, as well as the handout with a summary of the ideas that Elspeth has put forward. There were some other questions. A question about Kelly.
Sorry, who?
Sorry. Kelly is asking a question about students recording themselves reading. Yeah.
Okay. At what point do you get them to do the transcription? So we do the reading as is in the course book in class. We do it as an activity in class. Then they go home and they record themselves reading the text. Now that reading, it can be the same text everyone's reading, or if they want to choose their own that we've done in the course book, they can choose any text that they want. They record themselves, and then they've got that there. And then we might do an activity with it where they listen to a partner, they share their listening with a partner or whatever. But then for the next homework, it's a homework task. I'd say, please transcribe the first paragraph. And as I say, no more than a paragraph, because otherwise it's too long and it's too hard. But yeah, it's another homework task after the recording.
Exactly. And it's concentrated. No, in one paragraph.
Very interesting.
That's a good idea.
Very interesting
Yes,
to do.
Yes, yes. There's another question. How do you get students to speak louder so that you can hear them despite wearing masks?
I actually have given up on that. And if you're working with bigger classes, it's almost impossible for them to hear me or me to hear them. Two things that I do. One is planning with a PowerPoint. I include my instructions on the PowerPoint. So page 56, 2 minutes speaking in English. I include that. And the other thing I do is I have I haven't got them with me at the moment. I have cards which say things like, can you speak up? Could you repeat that, please? So that students can either hold it up to me if they're at the back of the room and they can't hear me, or if they're in a speaking group of 3, they can hold them up for each other to ask for clarification and repetition. And that's the way I try to get around it, using visual sentences to help. It does help.
Yes.
It's fun as well.
Yes, absolutely. And it reinforces, doesn't it? Yeah. Another question, what are some grammar exercises we can do in class? Any ideas for grammar?
As in just, well, I mean, as I said before, students enjoy doing grammar exercises, adults particularly. There's something familiar about it and relaxing about it. Sometimes it's difficult to drag them away. That's why I was doing the idea of the coloured pens for correction, because it just adds a little bit of novelty to the activity. But as for in grammar exercises we can do, I'm afraid I use the book. I stick to whatever the book tells me to do. I used to copy them and put them up around the wall of the room and get my students to stand up and do them. We can't do that now because we're socially distanced. So I'm afraid we're back to doing it. What I try to do is we do the exercises the normal way in class, and then we try and correct them in a different way.
I was going to add to that. What do you think, Elspeth, about taking a video script or an audio script and highlighting key language? So, for example, when you talked about your students having chosen to do the grammar first, before, for example, the reading, and do the speaking at the end. If it were listening or if it were video, and you did, and you changed the order and you did the video script, they chose to do the video script, for example, at the end, perhaps you could, you could combine the grammar there as well. It's a way of checking
underline the examples off, yes.
And so, for example, when we're talking about grammar positive and negative and, say, question forms, you could have different colors for them, green, positive, red, negative, and, say, yellow, amber question forms, different ways of highlighting examples.
The grammar in context. The grammar in context. That's absolutely.
The grammar in context, I think, is key. And you know what I've noticed with Macmillan English Hub, and particularly the videos, both the cafe videos and the authentic videos, is that when you look at the tape scripts, there's so much natural language and grammar. The structures are in a very natural, even in the cafe hub context, the functional language and the grammar and the functional language, which is so key, isn't it, for communication. There's so much of, you mentioned about and like phrases that we use to gain time, when we're thinking about what we're saying, which is very natural. I'm doing it actually at the moment, and I'm sure, even though I'm not aware, consciously aware, I'm using some language that is helping me to develop, to form my ideas.
Yeah, there's one question that says, do you mean phonetic transcription? Sorry, just to say, no, when I'm talking about the students listen to themselves having read something aloud, I'm talking actually physically writing the words they hear, the words that they have said, and then comparing that with the original text. And if they've got it perfectly the same, then they can give themselves a pat on the back. But it's very interesting to notice where are there any weak forms that are missing, or did they say them all completely without using the weak forms and the correct intonation and in stress of the sentence? It's very interesting.
Yes, yes.
So not phonetic transcription.
No. But certainly, what do you think about that idea of taking the tapes, the audio script or the video script, and exploiting it even more?
No, absolutely. There are loads of things that you can do with it, and also even just apart from, you can watch the video with the subtitles, and that itself is the video script. But just changing certain words in it, just using it to highlight the grammar that they've been doing, or using it to allow them to read through it and then pick out 2 or 3 things that they are not sure of, and then you can discuss those in class together. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. There's so much. Yeah, there are many ways you can exploit it. And in fact, the same text in different ways, you can also revisit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, text further down the line as well. Okay, I'll just check one last check to see if there are any other questions, if we've missed anything. I just want to say out loud, because a couple of people in the chat asked about the recording. Yes, there will be a recording of this event and after the event, but be patient, as I said at the beginning, it'll take a couple of days. We'll send you an email with the recording and with the handout. So I think that's it. Elspeth, it's been an absolute pleasure, really, to be here today with you and to have you with all your experience as a teacher trainer, as a teacher, as a director of studies. You've seen it from all angles, haven't you? To have that kind of experience, and we can see from the chat, people have really appreciated your ideas, your very practical ideas. So thank you. I hope to see you again here in the not too distant future. Okay.
Thanks, Louise.
Okay. Thank you, and see you soon. This is an opportunity to look at Macmillan English Hub, this new course for adults in more detail. We'll be looking at the components, the key aspects, what it has to offer. Lucy is also a former language teacher, English language teacher as well, so she knows your context really, really well. Okay, so over to you, Lucy.
Hi, Louise. Thanks very much. So that was really good. That was a really useful session. As you say, I come from a teaching context, so I found it very useful, but also just so many practical ideas there, weren't there? It was so practical, and I look forward to sharing some of those ideas with our Macmillan English Hub users. So that was brilliant. Thanks a lot for those ideas, Elspeth. So yeah, for the next few minutes, I'm just going to be talking to you about Macmillan English Hub and giving you an opportunity to see a little bit more in depth about this series, okay? So we'll talk a little bit about what makes it so different. We're going to have the opportunity to take a look inside the book. We're going to look at some of the digital material that Elspeth was talking about, some of the apps for the students and some of the apps for the teachers. We'll look at Macmillan 360-degree offer for Macmillan English Hub, the key components. I'll tell you all about Macmillan Advantage, our premium Macmillan page for our users. And we'll also give you an opportunity to contact us at the end. You'll have an opportunity to open up the chat again, ask us any questions about our resources, about Macmillan English Hub, and get in touch with us, okay? So let's move on. Here we have Macmillan English Hub. You can see here that we have a picture of the EOI edition. That's for the Escuela Oficiales de Idiomas. For those of you who are teaching at an Escuela Oficial de Idiomas, we have this version, but we also have a version for academies, so don't worry if you prefer to see that version. Today I'll be focusing on the EOI edition, but we'll be looking at the main features of both versions are exactly the same. Okay, so it's been interesting over the last year. We've had some great feedback as well, which I'll be able to include in what I'm telling you about now. So we have all of the levels, as you can see here, from A1 all the way over to C1, and the brand new level this year, which is the B2.2 or B2 plus. So as I mentioned, we're starting to get little bits of feedback, which is really interesting. And we have, so what we've been told a bit is one of the key features of Hub is the teacher support. We all need teacher support, and this is great because on one side of the teacher's book you have the student's book, and on the other side you have the teacher's book. So you have all the answers written into the student's book, and on the teacher's book you have the audio script underlined where the answers are. So it's very clear and ready to go. You just open it up and you have everything in front of you. We also have lots and lots of activities at the back of the book, you know, photocopyables and things like that. Excuse me, and photocopyables and things like that. So it's fantastic. We also have, I just wanted to say it's a kind of grab and go teacher's book. It's really, really ready to go. The methodology ideas are in there and things like that. So warmers, coolers. I remember that Elspeth was talking about some of the warmer ideas. They're all in there, so you don't really need to move on from there. Okay, so the other thing that's great is that at the beginning of every unit, you have the clear objectives. The learning outcomes are very clear. Students and teachers need to know where they're going and if they've met these outcomes. I think it's very useful for you as teachers to go over these objectives at the end of the class and make sure that the students are meeting these learning outcomes. One of the most important things, why do adult students go to class, is because they want to learn how to speak. Speak and communicate in general, whether it's written or spoken. Now, Macmillan English Hub is full of opportunities for speaking. You can speak, there's the speaking hub activities that are at the back of the book, but also throughout the whole book, there's lots of opportunities for kind of real life speaking opportunities. And this is great because the students have, the activities are very relevant, they're up to date, and they're very motivating topics. We've had some great feedback from students who are enjoying these topics. The video input, as you saw during Elspeth's talk, the video input is really important. So there's the two main types of videos. There's the Cafe Hub videos, which is the kind of mini Netflix series, which is like a situational comedy, which has characters that are the same characters throughout the whole of the series, and they can follow their funny situations that they get into. These are very motivating videos, but we also have the Guardian real life authentic English videos. The Mars video was the one that Elspeth used there, and as you can see, this provides realistic models for language production. Again, they're more documentary or news style activities, and again, very highly motivating. Now, with the Students app, a little anecdote for you. I was in an academy the other day where the students told me, the teachers told me, finally, my students are doing their homework. Well, that's great, isn't it? This app is kind of really engaging students. It's giving them the ability to practice wherever they are. So if they're on the bus or on the sofa at nighttime, they can do 5-10 minutes of their homework. They can practice obviously grammar, vocabulary, all of the normal skills, but actually it gives them the opportunity to practice their speaking skills because they can record their voice, and their writing skills, and communicate and send this to their teacher to get instant feedback. So that's great. And then finally, for the Escuela Oficiales, we have plenty of linguistic mediation activities, a range of interlinguistic, intralinguistic activities, together with teachers' notes of how to carry these out in class, and also rubrics. And the rubrics will help us evaluate these tasks. As it's quite a new skill, it's quite important to have that support, I think. Now, let's take a quick look inside the book. You can see here that every unit has a really bright, a great photo. This photo is kind of to attract the students' attention and provoke conversation. It also comes with a little quote at the bottom, which hopefully does the same thing. The objectives that I mentioned before are clearly stated at one side. And then we have some probing questions, and this really piques the students' interest and able to personalize the topics. The photos and the images throughout this book are really engaging, I think. Just taking a flick through, I think it looks like a really fresh, new book. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at the Students app here.
Each Language Hub Students book comes with a code to access the innovative Students Practice app, course audio and video. The app encourages learners to practice their English on the move using quick and flexible activities. It allows teachers to assign activities directly to students' smartphones and uses push notifications when there is work to complete. The activities can be used to prepare for the lesson or to practice the language and skills that have been taught. Grammar and vocabulary activities can be completed in either practice mode or a more difficult challenge mode against the clock. Longer practice activities cover the skills focus of the lesson and help to consolidate learning outcomes. The Language Hub app is designed to motivate students and includes a reward system to encourage students to keep practicing.
So as you can see there, there's the Students app, which has got an all-in-one there, lots and lots of practice for them to do outside of class time. Moving on, we have another video just to kind of explain what's involved in the Teachers app.
The Teachers app, which comes with the Language Hub Teachers book, provides everything a teacher needs for their course in one place. This includes access to the course audio and video and the test generator. It enables teachers to deliver truly engaging lessons. Content is provided in the Tap and Teach presentation kit, which includes interactive activities and whiteboard tools to make classroom presentation easy. The app also enables teachers to send messages and push homework to students' smartphones, alerting the class when they have activities to complete. Activities can be assigned to individual students or to the whole class. This enables teachers to personalise the amount and type of practice students do every week and to track their progress. Students can practice the grammar or vocabulary before lessons, allowing more time in class for face-to-face communication. The teacher can also assign the activities as homework to consolidate learning outcomes.
So there you go, really useful tools for you, especially in the environments that we're teaching in nowadays. And yeah, recently, to be honest with you, the last year has kind of changed the way we think about teaching and learning. And as this is continuously evolving the way we teach and learn, and digital is becoming more and more important to us on a yearly basis. And I think this last year we've become thrown into the future. We've really, here at Macmillan, we've provided you with a 360-degree approach to Macmillan English Hub, which means it's completely flexible. If you're giving classes online, we have all of the tools ready for you. You have digital students' books and digital workbooks, but you can also use the classic print books as well if you prefer that. The digital student books are interactive, and so the workbooks, and they always include the app as well. So it doesn't really matter which version you're using, you're going to have the same solution. If you do have any digital problems, we have first-rate technical support with a quick start online training, tutorial videos, but we also have friendly customer service, which you can contact via email, or we can also give you a call. And finally, to help you teach confidently, our Macmillan Promise. We provide ongoing professional development webinars and videos and blogs on our website, both on our website and also via Macmillan Advantage. Okay, so just to let you know about the key components, if you're buying the Macmillan English Hub, which is the EOI version, if your students are getting this, then they have a 3-in-1. They get the student's book, the workbook, and the video booklet all together. This is included with the digital license that's included in this. They get the access to the resources, the app, and the videos. As teachers, you get your fantastic Interleave teacher's book, with your grab and go activities in there. But you'll also get access within this book to everything within the teacher's app. The presentation tools and resources, the videos, the 2 styles of test generator. If you're in an EOI context, then you have the EOI test generator, which has lots of practice for your students for the typical EOI tests, and the generic test generator for the book. Also Macmillan Advantage, which I'll let you know a little bit more about now. So we have all of our resources for Macmillan English Hub on Macmillan Advantage, our premium website for users. And this, but you also have other textbooks as well. So if you have used other textbooks, you might be finding things there. You have educational support, which is documentation adapted to national and regional legislation initiatives. For example, the mediation. You can find information about mediation there, the inter and intralinguistics. And if you wanted to step away from the course book for a while and use some different resources, you can go to our resource hub in Macmillan Advantage, where you have a range of activities to use with your pupils on lots of different topics. For example, climate change, films and TV, women's rights, games, and lots more. And finally, you have access to all of our teacher training webinars from our team of experts here at Macmillan, and they will give you advice on lots of different trending topics, such as linguistic mediation. So finally, we're coming to the end there. I wonder if anybody has got any questions about the book, wants to drop us a line through the chat. We're going to open up the chat now with Louise. I also invite you to visit our webpage, macmillaneducation.es, or get in contact directly with your sales representative. If you don't know who it is, just drop us a line in the chat now and we'll happy to help you out. Louise, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. And I'm just looking at we'll give people a couple of seconds to write in. They can write in comments, or they can write in questions. If you have any questions about the different aspects of the course that Lucy has presented. There's a lot of material there, Lucy, a lot of really good material. I love the apps in particular, and the idea that you can personalize, and you can send, you can identify where people need more reinforcement or more help, and can personalize then the type of input that they get. I think that's
totally. And I mean, you can also send your homework to individual students, or you can send it to the whole class. So if one student was struggling in listening or grammar, for example, you'd personalize that and send it directly to them, or you can send it out to the whole class. So yeah, it's great.
There are some questions coming through. First question: how can we access the mediation tasks?
Good. That is a good question. The mediation tasks are all actually on Macmillan Advantage. Okay, so when you're, I mean, I don't know if this teacher has a contact with their Macmillan representative, but if they do, they could ask to see a sample of maybe some of them, and we can send through a little sample of one of the levels of a mediation task, because they're very complete. They have not only the task, but the teacher's notes and an evaluation there as well. So it's really complete. But yeah, they're accessible through Macmillan Advantage is the short answer.
Yes, but if they want to see samples, because a couple of people have asked, I think, questions about samples, they should contact Macmillan.
Definitely.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, and there is actually a question in the online Survey Monkey, which we'll launch after this. And there's a question about if you're interested in finding out more about Macmillan English Hub, the course, please tick yes, and also include what levels you're interested in seeing, and we'll get in contact with you. Somebody is saying that they love the teacher's book, but just a couple of things, hopefully not too videos are not in the. Okay, where are the videos?
I'm looking at this question as well now. I love the teacher's book. A couple of things. Not too petty. There's no petty questions. Don't worry. I noticed that the videos at the back of the EOI book are not in the teacher's book. Do you mean they're not include the actual lesson is not included in the? I mean, I need a bit. Also, could they make the page in the teacher's book with writing lessons a full page? The writing page is really small. Okay, that's good feedback. That's something that I personally can't answer, but we do. I mean, we're at the currently, as it's been out there just for a year, we're really taking all of the feedback into account and passing it on. So we'll definitely make a note of that, and it's really useful. So the page in the teacher's book with the writing lessons, a full page. Okay, that's good feedback. Now, the EOI book are not in the teacher's book. The videos at the back of the EOI book are not in the teacher's book. I'm not really sure whether you mean that they're not included in to do in class, because it is separate. The video booklet with the Guardian videos are videos that are supposed to be, they're related to the topic, but they can be used at any moment during the unit. You don't have to use it at any specific moment. So the guide is really in the video booklet itself. So I'm not really sure if I'm clear with that.
Yes, I think the person, I think it's the same person, is saying yes, the lessons or the answers are not in the teacher's book. So there is a video book with all the activities. And it can stand alone, or it can work.
Yeah, or you can integrate. The topic is related. The topic of the video booklet is related to the unit, but you can also, it can be a standalone thing that you can do at any point.
Yeah, and as somebody else is saying, it's the video book and the answers are also on the resource center, in the resource center.
Yes, everything is in the resource center. So all of basically that's a kind of all-in-one area.
Exactly. So everything is there. Okay. Yes, somebody says that they're having problems downloading the update to the virtual book for teachers.
Okay. Good. Please get in touch. I mean, if any of you are having any problems with updates and things like that, because we're constantly doing updates to make it obviously to improve its functionality. And if you are having any problems, our customer service team are here to help. The best way, if you want to obviously to get in touch with your rep and ask them about that, and then we will get the customer service team to give you a call. Okay. Sometimes it depends on the operating system and things like that. I have done the most recent update and I've been fine with it. But yeah, if you're having problems, there's absolutely, we can help you out there.
And just to reiterate, if anybody wants to see samples of anything like the test generate the book, etc., that they should contact us and we'll organize a visit. But in the questionnaire, the online questionnaire that we'll launch now in a minute, the Survey Monkey, there is a question there about that. So please do reply to it. Okay, I can't see any other questions.
Okay, just if you buy the student's paper book, do they have access to the phone app? Yes. So basically all of the resources and everything is, you can access that through the license that comes in the paper book. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Liz. Liz is saying thank you. Thank you, Liz, for your questions and participating. Great. I don't think there's anything else. No, I think that's it, Lucy.
Brilliant. Okay, well, that's good.
Okay. Thank you so much for that presentation, and really, really nice. And I like the way you linked it with Elspeth's session as well. The videos that she used are really great. I've used them as well, actually. I've used both the Cafe Hub and the authentic videos, and there's so much you can do. They're short, aren't they? They're short,
well, it's great. Video content is just brilliant. Yeah.
It's wonderful, but also in terms of the language exploitation afterwards of that natural language, I think it's really powerful. Okay, thank you for that, and once again, thank you to Elspeth, Elspeth, for sharing so many really practical, really doable, feasible ideas and activities that I think more than one person said I'll put them into practice next week. As of next week. So thank you for that. And thank you to you all for being here with us, for being so participative. It's been a real pleasure.